In this video, we're going to take a look at factorizing 4 terms. So in the last video, we looked at factorizing 2 terms. And really, you should look at that video first before you look at this video, because you need to understand how to factorize 2 terms before you do 4 terms, because it's the same method, only slightly differently for this one. So this question that came up in 2018's higher level junior circuit paper asks us to factorize fully, and you'll see that we have got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Okay, hence the reason why this tab is called factorizing 4 terms. So how do we set about doing this question? Well, let's take a look at the steps. And it's very similar to the 2-term questions, only there's a couple of extra jobs we have to do for this one. Okay, what do we do first? First thing we have to do is we have to rearrange until we've got 2 2-term expressions. Now, sometimes you don't have to rearrange, but oftentimes you do. Now, what that means is I'm going to take a look at the first and second term and the third and the fourth term. And I'm going to treat those like they are individual 2-term questions. That's why it's important to look at the 2-term video before we look at this video. But anyway, I presume you've looked at that one. So let's take a look at this one here that I've boxed off. The first and the second term. Let's just take a look at those two. And let's factorize those two. So what's in common? Is there a common number or is there a common letter? Well, there's no common number, but D is in both of them. So I'm going to write down D. I'm going to put my brackets. And what else then? What would D have to multiply by to create 10DE? Well, we'll have to multiply by 10E. And what would D have to multiply by to create minus DF? We'll have to multiply by minus F. So that's that one factorized. Now do the same for this one over here, the minus 5EF plus 2D squared. What's in common? Nothing. There's no common number and there's no common letter. So this is not going to work. And hence the reason for this step here. Sometimes you'll have to rearrange the question you've been given so that you can get 2 2-term expressions. So let's try and put the first with the third and the second with the fourth, with the last. Let's just write those down beside each other. So 10 DE, let's put it with this one, minus 5 EF. Now put the second one, minus DF, and now put the last one, plus 2D squared. So, just to go over that again, if the first 2 don't work, then they don't work because these 2 didn't work. Try the first with the third, and the second with the last. That's the first one that I would always try. So now that we've rearranged, let's box off these 2 expressions and let's try and factorize again. So all I did was I put the first beside the third. That's here. And I put the second beside the fourth. That's here. And now let's see if we can find common numbers and common letters. So let's try this one first. What's in common? Well, a common number is 5, because 5 goes into 10 and into 5. And a common letter is E, because E is in both of them. So let's put our brackets down. What would 5E have to multiply by to make 10DE? Well, 5 by 2 gives me 10, and E by D gives me DE. Now, what would 5E have to multiply by to make minus 5EF? We need to make minus 1F. Okay, so this down here is this expression factorized. Got that bit done. Now let's do the second one. Let's see what's in common. Now, by the way, there's going to need to be a sign that goes here, whether it's a plus or a minus, but I'm not going to make my mind up about that just yet. I'm going to put a little box there. I'm not going to put a sign there just yet. I'm going to leave it blank. Do that last. Now, what's common? D. Isn't there a D in both? So we'll put D down. Then we'll put our brackets. Now, D by what gives you DF? Well, F. And D by what gives me 2D squared? Well, plus 2D, isn't it? Now, here's where it gets interesting. Okay. We're now down here, basically. We're down at step 5. Because all we've done there was what we did in the previous video. So that's why I kind of did it nice and quick. So if you're not sure what I was doing there, again, watch the video on 2 terms. Now we're down to step 5. And take a look at this. It says repeat, but ensure that the second bracket is the same as the first. Now here's my first bracket, 2D minus 1F. And here's my second bracket, F plus 2D. It's very similar because there's an F in both of them and there's a 2D in both of them. But they're not in the same order. The F is coming before the 2D here, whereas over here it was 2D and then the F. So just write them out again and put them in the same order. So put the second bracket, whoops, in the same order as the first. That's a minus 1F. So we've got to put in minus F. And now, let's worry now about this sign here. What sign needs to go in there? We need to recreate, remember. The whole objective is this is need to recreate the original expression up here. So I know that this is fine. 5e by 2d gives me, now I'm going to get a good highlighter for this so I can show you what I'm doing here. So let's do this in red. So 5e by 2d, that gives me my 10de. That's fine. Now 5e by minus 1f, that gives me my minus 5ef. That's fine. Over here, what kind of a d by 2d gives you plus 2d squared? Well, it would have to be a plus, wouldn't it? Plus d by plus 2d gives you plus 2d squared. And let's just double check now for the last one. Let's get purple. D by minus f. Oop, that's not the right color. No, that's gone. D by minus f would give you minus df. So that's correct. So I know I'm fine with the signs now. All the signs are in the right order. And I remember I left this one till the end. It's much easier if you leave that one till the end and you've got the second bracket looking the same as the first bracket, and then you worry about that sign there to tidy everything up, to make sure that you've got it all right. Now I'm on to the last step. Put what's outside the brackets. So what's outside the brackets right now? We've got a 5e outside the brackets and we've got a plus d. Those two terms are outside the brackets. So we put them into brackets of their own. So 5e plus d. What else? And write the repeating bracket only once. So see the way this bracket repeats itself? Just write it only once. 2d minus 1f. And that is the answer. Now that's quite hard, wasn't it? So we're going to try and do another one, and then you're going to try and do some. So we're going to try and do 2015's question. And in order to do that, we'll move our steps down here so we can see them, and zoom in. And let's have a look. Okay, let's try and do it straight up as it looks. So we'll try and do these two and these two and see if that will work, because maybe we don't have to do step 1. That's always something that you mightn't have to do. Now normally at higher level it is something you have to do. So let's take a look. What's in common? Ooh, there is something in common. There's an A. An A by C would give me AC. And A by minus D would give me minus AD. Repeat. What's in common? BD plus B. Oh, B. Remember, leave the sign till the end. B by D plus C. Okay, I didn't have to rearrange it all there. But now let's take a look at what we've got and see if what's in the first bracket here is the same as the second bracket. So we're down to step 5. Ensure the second bracket is the same. We have a C and a D, and we have a C and a D in here, but they're not in the same order. So let's get them into the same order. Let's make the second bracket over here look exactly like the first bracket. Okay, so just go A, C minus D. Remember, leave this sign till the end. B, C minus D. Now let's make sure we get this right. This sign here is key. Remember, I am trying to do B by C to make plus BC. So that would have to be a plus. Plus B by C gives me plus BC. And double check that it is, because try the second one now. B by minus D would give me minus BD. And is that what I have up here? Yes, it is. There's a minus BD there, so that's what sign's needed there. It needs a plus. So now I'm on to step 6. Put what's outside the bracket. That's outside the bracket. That's outside the bracket. Put those into brackets of their own. A plus B. And write the second bracket just once. The repeating bracket just once. Okay. Now that you've seen those two videos, or those two questions being done, why not try in the notebook now, using these steps, you pause this video and try the question that came up in 2014, question that came up in 2017, give them a go, see how you get on, and when you've tried them, press play on the video, because I'm going to do them now on the video, but I want you to try and do 2014's one and 2017's one in your copy right now. Okay, there's the answer to 2014's question. That was actually relatively straightforward. Broke it up. We didn't need to rearrange anything. The first and the second, with the third and the fourth. That was factorized here. And then this one was factorized here. And then we took what was outside the brackets, and we put them into a pair of brackets. And we wrote the repeating bracket just the once. So that's the answer to that one. I'm going to spend the last few minutes of this little video on this one here, which is by far harder than the previous one. Okay, let's try the first with the second and the third with the fourth. What's in common? Y. What would Y have to multiply by to make WY? W minus. What would Y have to multiply by to make Y? 1. So don't get fooled by that. There should be a 1 in there. There should always be 2 things in the brackets. Okay, what about here? What's in common? Do we have anything in common? Yes, we do. Let's not worry about the sign just yet. But 1 is in common. 1 by what gives me 1? 1. And 1 by what gives me W? W. Okay, now, is what we have in the first the same as what we have in the second? Yeah, we've got the same terms, but we've got them in the wrong order. So let's write them in the same order, with the same signs. Now let's worry about this sign belonging to the 1 here. What should it be? 1 by W, we need to make a plus W, so that needs to be a plus. And is that right? Double check. Plus 1 by minus 1, does that give me a minus 1? Yes, it does. So now we know we're right. So we put what's outside the brackets into a brackets, and we write the repeating bracket